Hi everyone, it's Marian, and for today's video, I'm reviewing all the plants that I got in 2022. Thank you so much for joining me today, and in case you missed it, I have released my 2023 Plantiful Planner, which is a planner for plant parents created by a plant parent, me. So if you want to check it out, the Amazon link is down in the description. And if you're interested in just a 2023 planner, I have that version as well. Or if you're just interested in the houseplant care guide and tracker part, I have the Have a Plentiful Day journal that you can also purchase. And you can find the links to the 2023 Plantiful Planner, 2023 Planner, and the Have a Plentiful Day journal also down in the description. But for today's video, I'm going through all the plants that I got in 2022. Either I bought them, I got them from a trade, or they were gifted to me. And like previous years, I'm always surprised with the number of plants that I actually got in a year. I always think it's a much lower number, but it always turns out to be a lot more. But unlike previous years, it's not like, oh, I only thought I added maybe up to 10 plants in my plant collection, and it turns out I added over 100 plants into my plant collection. 2020 was a wild year. But yeah, before we get started, if you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Marian. Welcome to My Wasteless Life, where I take you along my houseplant and sustainable lifestyle journey and share with you some of my tips and tricks along the way. And if that type of content interests you, make sure to subscribe to this channel before the end of this video, and also make sure to like and comment down below. I would love to hear from you and see which plants you got this year, especially if you finally got one of your long-time wishlist plants. I would love to know. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So first, let's go over the plants that I bought this year and let you know if I regretted buying them or not. And actually, I was thinking of just making this video plants I bought this year, but I didn't really buy many plants this year. And this one is not a lie. This is very much true because, well, in comparison to previous years, I definitely bought a lot less plants this year. I know I wasn't really going plant shopping that much. As you might have seen, I didn't really do many plant shopping videos unless I was like traveling. It was just checking out plant shops. But like locally, I wasn't really going to plant shops a lot. So this year I bought only about 6 plants, technically 8, and I'll explain why later. But that's pretty much it, the plants that I bought this year, which to me is the lowest number of plants I ever bought. Like last year, if you've watched a similar video that I did for Vlogmas, I bought, I think, 20 or more plants last year, which is crazy. So yeah, so let's start with the very first one that I got, which is the watermelon peperomia. So the watermelon peperomia was part of my kind of like plant project for the year or plant goal for the year to try out genuses of plants that I previously stayed away from, and peperomias was one of them. So when I saw this at the big box store for like $3 on sale, I decided to take my chance on it because why not? Because usually you'll find the watermelon peperomia as part of the trending tropicals collections from Costa Farms, which is about like $20. And honestly, for a plant that I'm going to be experimenting with, or not really like, you know, a wish list plant, I didn't want to spend that much money. But since I saw this for like $3, why not take a chance on it? And at first I was really happy with this plant because if you know anything about a watermelon peperomia, it is notoriously kind of hard to take care of for a peperomia. So I was actually very happy and pleasantly surprised that I didn't really have much issues with the watermelon peperomia. And in fact, for my spring favorites, this was my favorite for the spring, and I even like mentioned it in the summer. And this is what it looks like now. It admittedly, if you compare it to how it looks like back in spring and summer, it doesn't look quite as good, but for me it still looks pretty okay. It looks still pretty good. I think it's still a pretty healthy plant. And the only reason it might not look as good as the one in summer and spring, I've posted a short about it. It's probably like my most popular short of me pruning my watermelon peperomia. So it's like taking time to regrow all the leaves that I pruned off because it was just like getting too big and taking up too much space. So that's the only reason, in my opinion, that it's not like looking as good as it was. But as far as like any actual plant issues, I don't have any issues with this. But even though I had a pretty good and pretty successful experience with the watermelon peperomia, I'm still not fully in love with it. And I'm also not kind of like really sold on peperomias. I think I had mentioned in previous videos that peperomias, not for me in general, even though I did pretty well with the watermelon peperomia. it's not just a genus of plant that attracts me. So I give it a shot, and it's okay. Come next growing season or any opportunity to attend a plant swap or a plant trade, this is a plant that I'm probably going to be trading with or simply giving away, because it's a plant that's not for me, and there are other plants that I probably will want in the future, and I would rather have that instead of the watermelon peperomia. But yeah, so that's the first one that I got this year. Second plant that I got this year was a plant that I got from New York when I toured the plant district. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I will link it down in the description. And the plant that I got there was the Silver Glory. So I don't know if you could see that. Focus, focus, focus. Okay, so this is pretty much what is left of the Silver Glory. I got it in about like a 4-6 inch pot that was trailing really long. If you've seen my vlog about it, in my New York vlog, you would see how long it was and how trailing it was. But when I brought it back to Maryland, it just started declining pretty quickly. The strands would dry out individually up until to the point that I only have this and like one other propagation. So I kind of understand now what people say about the Silver Glory. It's not an easy care plant compared to the regular string of hearts or even the string of hearts variegated. So this plant can be finicky, actually a lot finicky. I do have it in my mini greenhouse, and it still kind of acts up every now and then. And also the new growth of it, it just looks like a regular string of hearts. And as you might have seen in my previous video, plants that I lost in 2022, my regular string of hearts was one of them. And I didn't feel too bad about that, because the Silver Glory that I currently have is just pushing out new growth that looks like a regular string of hearts. I mean, I am keeping this for as long as I can, for as long as I could keep it alive. I mean, this is a plant that I've been wanting to have for a long time, so definitely I'm gonna try my best to keep it alive and keep it in my care and have it look as good as my string of hearts variegated. But it's definitely a plant regret with how much I paid for it. I paid $35 for it, which you might think is not too bad, because Silver Glory can be very expensive if you buy it elsewhere. And also if you bought it like in previous years, it was like a really hard plant to find. But for me, it was still kind of like $35 for a plant that was just like slowly declining in my care. And I don't think it's just me though, because when I was at the store, the other Silver Glory plants were also kind of like drying up. I thought, you know, it's just like because it wasn't watered, the plant shop just didn't really know how to take care of it. But I think it is just an unhealthy batch of plants that I got. And honestly, there's a story behind this. I don't know if I shared it in my New York vlog. The plant shop that I bought this from accused me of stealing his cell phone. Like, why would I buy a plant for you, tell you to hold it while I go through other plant shops to look around and come back for it if I stole your cell phone? Like, I wouldn't come back to your plant shop to pick up my $35 plant if I stole your $1,000 cell phone, which is crazy. But yeah, so that's kind of like a quick anecdote behind that. So me and this plant didn't really start off in a really good start, but I really hope that I can keep it alive and that it does well, because this plant, as I might have mentioned, was a wish list plant for a long time. So I really want to be able to keep this alive. I'm trying my best to go in the order that I bought them, but I think the next one that I got was this, the White Wizard Philodendron. So when I initially got this, this was a very small seedling. It probably had about 3 leaves, with one of them variegated, which is the bottom leaf over here. And up to this day, it's still the only leaf that is variegated. So as you can see, it has all new growth, and the leaves are growing really large now, but still none of the leaves are coming out variegated at all. And I was told by the seller that white wizards, when they're juvenile, they don't really show variegation until they mature. So I'm still holding out hope that this would push out white growth or white variegation. I can see in the stem the white variegation. So I'm just like kind of hoping with each new leaf that comes out that the white variegation will come out. But I am holding on to it. I did pay $25 for this one. I got it from the striped stem shop when they did a pop-up at Plants Alive. But if it doesn't push out any white growth next year, it's probably a plant that I'm going to be trading with. Because right now, this is just like a green philodendrons. I mean, and I did sign up, or I did pay for a green philodendron. I wanted a philodendron white wizard. So hopefully it will show more white variegation as it matures like I was told it would. So this is why I would say technically I bought 8, but this is not really a plant that was for me. It's plants that I bought to create centerpieces for my dad's birthday back in the summer. And we did keep one of the centerpieces, and I bought 2 plants to be able to create that centerpiece. So this is the plant arrangement or the centerpiece that I did. A lot of the plants have grown large already since, but this is the one that I bought, which is the white Sangonium. And I don't know if you can see the peperomia in here. It looks like the watermelon peperomia, but it's like the more elongated one. And I added like neon pothos cuttings and regular pothos cuttings in it. So I mean, it was good as a centerpiece. I'm actually surprised that it's still alive. I was only gonna give it like maybe a month or so for it to stay alive, because as you can see, the container it's in, it doesn't have any drainage, and it's not really a nice environment for houseplants. But so far it is thriving, it is surviving. So we're still keeping it for as long as it stays alive, but it was just meant for a centerpiece for temporary use. So surprised that it is staying alive, and technically these are plants that I bought in 2022, but not really as part of my plant collection. But yeah, so if you have like any upcoming events and want to create centerpieces, this is a great idea, so that you don't have to like invest in flowers, which can be very expensive, especially in this economy. And this one you can make like well ahead of time, and I actually highly suggest you make it ahead of time so you can give the plants time to bounce back and really look its best at the day of the event compared to the day that I was making the plant arrangements. I did a live stream of it too, so you can see how it looks compared to what it looks now. So the next plant I got, it's not technically the plant that I got, it's the seeds that I got. So in August, I went to Kauai with my brother and sister. I bought a dragon fruit there, which a dragon fruit is not that exotic or not that hard to find in mainland, but it's a dragon fruit that I got locally, and I was able to save some of the seeds and brought it back with me to Maryland. And I decided to plant it, see if it will actually grow. But if you know from my previous trip to Hawaii, when I was in Oahu, I got a plumeria node that I tried to propagate. It didn't work out well. It just pushed out some flowers for me and then a little bit of foliage. But after that, it didn't successfully root, so eventually it just like rotted and died. So that plumeria was a no-go. I wanted to try again with the dragon fruit seeds, and this is what it looks now. So I'm really happy that it's kind of like successfully growing. You can see like it's starting to shoot out the actual dragon fruit leaf body shape after like the true leaf have germinated and popped out. So I'm really excited about that. I kind of like wish I documented the entire process of the growth from when like I planted it, from it germinated to the first true leaf, and now it's growing like the actual dragon fruit body, leaf. I don't know what to call it when it comes to this type of plants. So I'm really excited what will happen with this one. I am not expecting it to grow an actual dragon fruit. It's going to be a while, and I have to like separate it and actually grow it properly for it to produce fruit. But I'm just happy that it successfully germinated from the seeds that I saved from the dragon fruit that I ate while I was in Kauai. Next plant that I bought was this Monstera Deliciosa, which is supposed to be a Monstera Deliciosa sport. I spotted this at Trader Joe's, and I have heard people finding Monstera sports, even a Monstera albo at Trader Joe's. And I spotted this one, and it had like sport variegation in it. And it wasn't very prominent, but it was there if you really look at it. So I bought it. It was like $15. So I was like, why not? And as you might have known, if you watch my fall plant collection video or the plants I lost in 2022 video, my OG regular Monstera Deliciosa, I lost to root rot. I sold the mother plant, but the propagation that I had left with me died from root rot. So with this one, it's kind of like a replacement for that. Bonus that was a Monstera sport, but I have noticed that the sport variegation is not really showing up as much. It would show up with new leaf if it has it. More often than not, it doesn't have it. But overall, it just looks like a regular Monstera Deliciosa. I mean, a Monstera is still like a beautiful plant to have, so I'm not like dissing it or regretting it that much, but I am kind of disappointed that it is not a Monstera sport, or not the Monstera sport that I hope, because some people, they would find a Monstera sport that is not very highly variegated, but once they bring them home, give it like, proper care, fertilize it, give it enough light, the variegation start to show more and more. With this one, I even grew this outside in a shady area, but it gets like a lot of light in hopes that it would encourage more of that sport variegation to come out. But it didn't. Like I said, it would show up a little bit when it's a new leaf, but as it matures, it's just like a regular leaf. Like, I mean, it is pretty. It's still a pretty plant. It's a Monstera Deliciosa after all, but not sport variegated as I hope it would be. And the last plant that I bought in 2022 is a Philodendron El Charco Red. And I've been wanting an El Charco Red for a longest time. It is one of those trendy philodendron plants, and it is the plant that kind of made me interested in philodendrons, because before I'm very much indifferent with philodendrons. I had philodendron hydrosaeum plants, but not like the climbing or the bushy type of philodendrons. So Equigenera had a pop-up in Maryland back in September, and they had El Charco Reds. And this is what it looked like when I first got it. That's what it looks like. It's beautiful. I paid $65 for it. I was debating whether I actually wanted it, because I know this was going to be a rehab plant. Like, yes, it was from a pop-up, but it's still an imported plant. I did have higher hopes that it would do much better, especially since I got to pick and choose which plant that I was bringing home. But it didn't really make a difference. An import plant is an import plant, and philodendron plants don't import well. And I still want to make a dedicated video on the El Charco Red, but obviously it's taking a while, but I still want kind of like go through the updates with you. So ever since I brought it home, it did start to have like yellowing leaves, and I just started to lose the leaves one by one. So what I decided to do is I just like chop it up, and that's what I did. And so far it has been pretty successful. And this is what my El Charco Red currently looks right now. This is what it looks like now, at least one of the chunks. I was able to divide the plant into like 5 chunks. I already lost one. I left it in a prop box. Yes, the same prop box I lost my string of hearts in. I got rid of the prop box, don't worry. And I took out any remaining plants it has inside. And I have this one growing in my mini greenhouse, and I have another one that has like 3 chunks in it. I put it all together because nothing was happening yet, but like last time I checked, or I checked before filming, 2 of them have started to push out a new growth from the grow point, and one is still kind of like the same. So I have high hopes for this one, that this one would survive, hopefully, because I did pay $65 for this plant. This is my second most expensive plant after the Anthurium clarinervium that I also killed this year. So I don't want the same thing to happen to this Philodendron El Charco Red, but I'm not like as frustrated or devastated with the process, because I knew it going in. I knew that it's going to be a rehab plant. Of course, I was hoping that I was going to be able to save the OG leaves of it, because it was really beautiful. As you can see in the B-roll or the archive photos, it was a beautiful plant. But I knew there was like a very high chance that it will all just go back to chunks, and I'll have to start from scratch. And that's the thing too with the Philodendron El Charco Red. If you're going to import it, whether from a pop-up or have it shipped to you, try to buy it as cheap as possible. And Equigenera always have sales for this plant. The $65 one was the cheapest that I could find on the pop-up. And yes, I could have bought it on the website on sale, but if I bought it on sale plus shipping costs, it was still kind of like amount to the same price, and I wouldn't even able to choose the type of plant that I got. So at least with a pop-up, I got to choose, and when everything is said and done, it's still going to be the same price. But if your only option is to buy it online from Equigenera or wherever, just make sure that you're buying it at the cheapest price possible, because no matter how well or how large it gets to you, it's going to be a rehab plant 9 out of 10 times. Like, talk to anybody who imported a Philodendron El Charco Red. They're going to tell you the same thing. It is going to be a rehab plant no matter what. So just be mindful of that. I mean, if you don't mind spending the money, spend the money. But unless you're really getting it as an established plant, sometimes at the Ecogenera pop-ups, they would sell plants that are already established, already acclimated, because what they do is they bring plants from Ecuador to their Florida greenhouse, and some of them, they let it acclimate in their greenhouse before sending it out to their pop-ups. But those plants tend to be a lot more expensive, not only compared to the other plants in their pop-up, but way more compared to their plants when they list them on their website. So it's the cheapest to get them online, but it's also the highest risk. So that's the only thing. But yeah, so the Philodendron El Charco Red, the last plant that I bought in 2022, and I bought it back in September and haven't bought a plant since. So I am kind of proud of myself, even though like a couple of the plants that I bought was like pricey. I was definitely under budget when it comes to plants this year. So next, I'm talking about the plants that were gifted to me this year. And most of these are plants that I received from Arid Asia as a gift, and it's an import order. I received, I think, 7 plants from them, 4 of my choosing. And out of the 7 they sent to me, only 6 came to me alive. The 7th one, the Alocasia variegata, came already a dead plant. I tried my best to keep it alive or, you know, revive it, rehab it, but it just rotted off. So I'm not counting that as a plant that I actually received since it arrived to me dead. And a couple of the other plants that they sent me, the Sangonium marble, I just gave it away because I'm not really into it. I gave it away when I was at a plant swap. And another one is the Hoya Crimson Queen, which is a plant I already had. I think what I did with that is I just potted it up with the Hoya Crimson Queen that I already had. And there's one that I'm forgetting, but if I'm forgetting about it, it's probably a plant that I don't have and also probably gave away. So all I have left from that Arid Asia import gift is 3 plants. And the first one is the Philodendron Splendid. So this is a plant that I chose myself, and I was really had high hopes from this one. And I got this before I got the El Charco Red, and this one looks similar to the El Charco Red for me, and they did have the El Charco Red for me to choose. It's supposed to be the hybrid of the Melanochrysum and the Varicosum, and supposed to be a lot easier care. It wasn't. It slowly deteriorated like the Philodendron El Charco Red that I got from the Ecogenera pop-up, and I tried my best to save it. I'm only left with 1 cutting. I think I made like 3 or 4 cuttings out of it. I think it was 4. 2 I already lost, and this is the only one that survived. It is finally pushing out a new growth, and this one is just a node. It's not connected to this leaf, and that one I'm still waiting for something to happen to it. I mean, it's not dying, but it's also not like producing any growth, and I don't know if it's producing any roots. I don't want to disturb it, but I'm really glad that this one is finally pushing out a new leaf because I've been waiting for a long time. So that is the Philodendron Splendid. Next one that I got is the Anthurium crystallinum from Arid Asia, and this one they picked out for me, and I also received this in a fabulous condition. The root system was also great, but the leaves started declining anyways, and I was told that it was gonna happen, so I didn't feel too bad, but I was of course hoping to keep the leaves as much as possible. But I only left with this one among the original leaves. These 2 were new growth under my care. There's actually a 3rd leaf that also grew under my care. I had to cut off because it was yellowing and browning so fast. I just decided to cut it off. So now it only has 3 leaves, and it's doing so far. I'm not experiencing root rot with it like I did with my Anthurium clarinervium that I lost this year. So hopefully I am getting better with taking care of Anthuriums. I was told to grow it in moss and feed it all the time, so that's what I'm doing because these are huge feeders and they like their substrate moist, but of course I'll still have to watch out for overwatering. But yeah, so the Anthurium crystallinum, hopefully I'm more successful with this because I really want to get more Anthuriums. I really want to get into Anthuriums. Anthuriums are very beautiful plants, but if I keep killing them, I don't want to get into them because they're expensive plants. And I'm already like fortunate to get this one for free, but I paid for a clarinervium once and I paid $100 for it. And I don't want to keep doing that for plants that I know I'm just going to kill. So hopefully I am more successful with this crystallinum next year so I can have more Anthuriums in my plant collection. And the last one that I got from Arid Asia that is surviving is the Vaticum. And this one looks so much better the last time we saw it, but now it's also deteriorating quickly. And I'm kind of not sure, maybe because it is the winter time, it needs more humidity and whatnot. I am moving this to the greenhouse. Hopefully it would do a lot better, but it has been like drying out really quickly even though I'm watering it constantly. And I fear what's happening with this is the same thing that had happened to my Hoya compacta variegata. It has to become hydrophobic, so no matter how much I water it, it is not absorbing the water at all, so that's why it's quickly drying out. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping it's just like a humidity issue, and by putting it in my mini greenhouse it would start to thrive again, but we will see. And I did like this plant because it is a Piper. Piper is an up-and-coming trendy plant, and also it looks like an anthurium without the anthurium price tag. So I really hope I'll be able to keep this one alive, putting it in the greenhouse and hoping for the best. And the last plant that I received as a gift is this orchid from Houseplant Resource Center. This was a gift after I did a brand collaboration with them. So it's just kind of like a thank you, which is so nice of them, because usually brands, at least the ones that I worked with in the past, don't really follow up after you work with them. So it was really nice of Houseplant Resource Center to follow up with me, send me a gift after I worked with them, and they actually already paid me generously and gave me a bunch of their products. So thank you so much to Houseplant Resource Center, and I do love their products. Like I said in the sponsored video, I've been using their products way before they sponsored my video, and I still keep using their products. So go check them out. Their products is specialized for monsteras and fiddlefigs, but really you could use any of their products on your houseplants because it's pretty much the same formula for your other houseplants that are similar to ficus and monsteras. This orchid I really like. It keeps blooming, and I like that it's small so that when it stops blooming I can still keep it and not feel bad about keeping it when it's just like the foliage. So yeah. And the third group of plants that I got this year are plants that I got from plant swaps or plant trades. So these days the way that I get my wish list plants is through plant trades, and I think majority of my plants I have received through plant trades nowadays. So that's a really great way to expand your plant collection or save money as you get your wish list plants. But I know it also coming from a place of privilege because you need to have really good plants to trade with. But at the same time, you might be surprised people are willing to trade plants for what you think is not a popular or not a rare plant. They would give it to you, because I've been in that position before where people gave me plants. You would see later that they didn't ask anything from me. And I've also been in a position where I just gave out plants, rare or uncommon plants, and I accepted plants that are more common or didn't accept any plants in exchange. Like plant people are the best. They're really kind and nice plant people, very generous, that would just share their plants with you without asking anything in return. So that's why I like going to plant swaps and plant events. People would just give you their plants for free without asking for anything. I mean, I want to also say a disclaimer that don't go into plant events expecting to get plants for free without giving anything in return. But in my experience, more often than not, I also have gotten plants that I didn't have anything valuable to exchange with, and I still got them. So all I'm saying is don't be turned off going to plant swaps and plant events because you think you don't have good plants to trade with. You'll never know. Just go bring your plants, and you'll never know who you will meet or what they're willing to trade with you. So yeah. So the first one is this Philodendron Varicosa. We've seen me talk about this a lot lately because it is growing so beautifully under my care. So this one I did get at a plant swap, but I didn't swap anything for it. It was just given to me because the person that had it, she had cuttings and it wasn't really doing well for her, so she just decided to give it away. And I took one of them, took a chance on it, and now it is thriving. So I'm really happy. It's a way for me to take a chance on a plant that I was kind of like iffy with as well. Don't know if I'm gonna do well with it, but since I'm getting it for free, why not take a chance? And look, it's doing so well. I'm really happy. Honestly, one of my best plants this year. I'm really so proud of how far this plant has come, and it really got me excited about philodendrons, to be honest. This was like the winner. Like, if it weren't for this plant, I would also be iffy with philodendrons like I am with peperomias, but this one like really convinced me you need to go and be into philodendrons. I'm telling you right now, majority of the plants that I got from plant trades this year are philodendrons. And next one is the Philodendron Brantanum. I had the Brantanum before. I've talked about it in a previous video. Wasn't really doing well in my care. Gave it out to a friend. Got this one off a plant trade. And I had the opportunity to trade with more mature cuttings this time of the Brantanum. And I took a chance on it. I forgot what I traded with this one. And honestly, I think this also might have turned out to be a gift. Or I traded some of my Monstera Deliciosa with it. Or my Sangonium alba with it. I forgot. But I did get it off the trade. I got like 3 cuttings of it. Only one survived, and I tried to give it support, or starting to give it to support, because I would want this to climb, because the issue that I had with the other Philodendron Brantanum, I tried to make it as a trailing house plant, didn't really work too well. So with this one, I think it is a plant that needs a pole to climb on. So I'm starting it early, like with my other philodendron, my climbing philodendrons at least, and give it a support right at the beginning, and eventually I would give it like a D-shaped moss pole or a coco coir pole like I did with my other plants and poles. Next philodendron is the Philodendron Painted Lady that I got off a plant swap. So this is, I would consider, a trade down for me, because painted ladies are becoming more common, and it's also not particularly a plant that I was really gunning for. But I traded a string of hearts variegated and a Hoya polyneura cutting for this one. And when I got it, it was a much smaller plant, but I went on with the trade because, like I said, I just want to give my plants away when I was at the plant trade. So again, you might be lucky. Some people that go to plant trades are people that are just looking to get rid of their extra plants. So they might not ask for anything in return, even though the plants that they're giving away or trying to trade with are like uncommon or more valuable house plants than what you have. So even though this is not like a wish list or a preferred plant, I'm not mad at it. I still like it. I don't know if I'm completely sold on it though, but compared to like the white wizard that I have right now, if you make me choose between the two of them, I think this one comes out as a winner right now, because look at it. It is very variegated. It's producing nice leaves and it's growing beautifully, and the white wizard hasn't produced any variegated leaves for me. So it is a great plant to have if you like the painted lady or you like the variegation of the painted lady. I would recommend it. I don't know if it's a plant that I would keep, to be really honest. If I come across another philodendron that I like more, I'd probably give this one up in exchange for that one. But right now, it is winning against the white wizard philodendron that I have. And the last one that I got off a plant trade, and with this one I actually feel guilty because I traded my Phi Constellation Monstera for this one, but it was just the nodes, and I was upfront with the person that I traded with that I don't think those nodes are going to be a plant, because it is from an unhealthy cutting. It's from my Costa Farms Thicon. It was already going bad by the time I took off those nodes from the Thicon, and I was upfront and honest with the person. She said she still wanted it and she's still willing to trade the Pink Princess Philodendron with it. So I got this off that trade, and as you can see, it finally produced a new leaf that has a pink variegation in it. In my previous video, I said that it hasn't produced any variegated leaf for me. It keeps popping out non-variegated ones, but I think it heard me and it finally produced a variegated one for me. So hopefully the white wizard will take notes and hear as well that I needed to produce a variegated leaf. So this Pink Princess Philodendron finally produced a new variegated leaf, and I'm really happy with this plant trade. Probably the best plant trade I ever did this year. And next one is the Begonia Macalata. This actually came with the Pink Princess Philodendron. She gave me this on top of the Pink Princess. This is why I feel so guilty, because I pretty much gave her a dead node. And I gave her also cuttings of my Monstera Deliciosa, Alba, and Orchid. Hopefully those did well. But the Thicon, I doubt it, but I don't know. Maybe she has produced miracles with it, because as I have mentioned, the Thicon is now dead, at least the Costa Farms one. That one, thriving, doing well. But I told her I will give her a cutting of this one once it grows a new grow point, and it is growing a new grow point, so hopefully that one becomes a full plant so I can give it to her and actually give her an actual Thicon, because she gave me a Pink Princess Philodendron. I mean, I get it, Pink Princess Philodendrons are cheaper nowadays, but still, And yeah, and she gave me this Begonia Macalata as well. This is the dwarf version of it. And so far I am liking it. I don't know if I'm sold on begonias, to be honest. It's kind of like with the peperomias as well. I don't think I'm going to be into begonia, but I do like the Begonia Macalata. It's one of my wish list plants for the longest time, but when Costa Farms came out with theirs, I didn't think it was pretty. But this one I can get into. It is in my mini greenhouse as long as it stays small. I don't know, maybe I want the big ones because I've seen the big ones too that has much greener leaves. Maybe I'd want that too. We will see. But yeah, so this is another one that I got from a plant trade. And the last one that I got off a plant trade, which is technically also might be a gift because I won it during the raffle at the plant trade, but I did end up giving the person who hosted the plant trade cuttings of my Paripersal Vaticum. So technically a plant trade too, but it is that Epipanum pinnatum aureum that you see at the back. I don't want to bring it here, it's not going to fit in the frame anyways. But yeah, I really like that plant. It is growing so fast, but I am having a couple issues with it. One, it is a reverted plant. I did get it as a reverted plant. I wasn't promised variegation with it. He said I could try, and I did try, but so far it is producing large leaves. It's growing so fast, but the variegation is not really showing up, so I don't really know if I'm going to continue to keep the plant. We will see. And second, it is mealybugs prone. Like, I've been treating it for mealybugs for like more than a month now. It wasn't as bad when it first started, but I would still see like one or two here and there on the plant, and usually it's just concentrated on the Epipanum pinnatum aurea. I don't really see it on the elbow. If I see it on the elbow, it's probably like one of the bugs that dropped on the elbow. But like on the elbow itself, I would only see maybe a couple on the top leaf, but like with the aurea, I would see it everywhere. So that's kind of like the only thing about it that I don't like, which I mean, it's kind of like a big deal, is a pest infestation. So that's the only thing. That's why I'm kind of like iffy if I want to keep it. We will see. Eventually, I do have to propagate it out of the moss bowl. It's just getting a bit crowded in there. I also added like golden pothos cuttings in hopes that I could get it to climb and grow large as well. So we will see. But yeah, iffy on the Epipanum pinnatum. So yeah, so those are the plants that I got in 2022. Quite a bit of them. If we combine all together, the plants that I bought, plants that were gifted to me, and plants that I got from trades. But in general, I'm very happy with them. I like all of the plants that I got because, as I've said many times before, I'm in the phase where I'm like really curating my plant collection, and only plants that come in are plants that I really want. And if I don't really like them, they're probably not going to stay for long in my plant collection. So yeah, those are the plants. But if you're going to ask me which is my favorite among all the plants that I got in 22, or which one takes the top spot, you will find out in my top 10 plants in 2022 and in my 2022 favorites. So watch out for those videos. They're upcoming for the Vlogmas season, even though technically I'm not doing Vlogmas, but it will be out before the end of the year. Because as you might have noticed, the pattern in my videos lately, at least with my plant ones, is I'm doing lots of year-in reviews plants edition. So let me know down in the comments if there are plants that you bought this year that you really like, or plants that you regret buying this year. Let me know down in the comments. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please do subscribe. I come up with videos every week, and if you haven't yet, check out these videos up here. Until my next one, but until then, I see you, I appreciate you. Take care of yourself and each other, and have a plentiful day. Bye!